Tech is a gamble. One brilliant idea can change the world. But for every success, there are countless failures that never quite lived up to their potential. So today, I will show you 8 of them. And at the end, you'll discover the critical lessons hidden in their downfall to spark your own success. Like Threads, the largest Twitter competitor created by Meta. Do you remember when Twitter was in complete chaos in 2022? New weird rules, paid blue checkmarks, and sudden changes were everywhere. People were angry. Even big brands were confused about how to navigate this mess. It felt like the platform was turning into a soap opera, and users were just extras in Elon Musk's dramatic rebranding experiment to turn it into X. But that's when Meta made its move. Out of nowhere, they introduced Threads, advertising it as the new improved Twitter, a clean slate free from the drama and chaos. It was like a fresh start on social media, promising thoughtful conversations instead of the brawls Twitter had become known for. People were hopeful. It felt like this was finally the answer to the mess. However, here's where it gets wild. Within the first 5 days, Threads had over 100 million signups. To put it in perspective, it took Facebook over 4 years to hit the same milestone. Everyone, from influencers to politicians to your cousin, started using it. Why was the start so explosive? Well, Meta made it ridiculously easy. If you already had Instagram, signing up for Threads took seconds. No complicated passwords, no filling out profiles. It even imported your followers. You clicked a button, and boom, you were in. It was like the red carpet was rolled out for you. For that first week, Threads was buzzing. Posts flooded in. Timelines felt alive, and there was a genuine sense of excitement. However, here's the thing about excitement. It's hard to keep it going, especially when there's not much substance underneath. Threads started to show cracks quickly. For one, the app felt a little too simple. Sure, it was clean and easy to use, but that also meant it was missing some of the features people loved about Twitter. No trending topics. On Twitter, you can see what the world is talking about in real time. On Threads, nothing. If something big was happening, you had to look for it manually, or worse, head back to Twitter. No desktop version. Let's be honest, who wants to write thoughtful posts or read long threads only on their phone? Threads left out professionals and heavy users who rely on desktop tools to communicate. No clear identity. Was it meant to replace Twitter? Was it just a companion to Instagram? Even Meta didn't seem sure. At first, the app was alive with energy, but within weeks, timelines began to feel empty. Posts became few and far between. People who once logged in daily started skipping it altogether. By the 3rd month, Threads had lost over 50% of its active users. So why did people leave? 1. The conversations felt forced. Without trending topics or hashtags, people didn't know what to talk about. It was like walking into a party where everyone was awkwardly standing around, waiting for someone else to start the fun. 2. The app wasn't evolving fast enough. Threads was missing key features, and while Meta promised updates, they didn't roll out quickly. Users got bored and went back to what they knew. 3. Twitter, or rather X, didn't die. Despite its problems, people stayed on Twitter because that's where the action was. Whether it was breaking news, viral memes, or celebrity drama, Threads couldn't compete with that. It was like downloading a new app for fun, playing with it for a week, and then forgetting it's even on your phone. Even though there have been problems with Twitter post-Musk, I want to keep Zuckerberg out of as much of the internet as possible. There's no use of Threads. Like, why should I use Threads over X or Instagram? People are posting the same kind of content over Threads like Instagram, but for discussion, people like X more. Absolutely ridiculous that you lose your Instagram account if you delete Threads. That's an absolutely BS move. Threads wasn't just a tech fail. It was a reminder of a big truth. Copying isn't enough. Sure, Meta saw an opportunity with Twitter's struggles, but instead of creating something truly new, they tried to recreate Twitter, minus the chaos. The problem? The chaos is what made Twitter exciting in the first place. Meta bet big on the idea that people wanted a quieter, friendlier version of Twitter, but they didn't consider this. Social media thrives on energy, whether it's good or bad. Threads felt like it had no pulse. But here's the thing, Meta isn't giving up. Threads is still out there, quietly rolling out new features like trending posts, hashtags, and an improved interface. It's not dead, it's just hibernating. So maybe, just maybe, Threads can reinvent itself. If Meta listens to what people want and brings something truly innovative to the table, there's still a chance it could become the platform everyone hoped for. Threads might have fallen apart faster than a cheap sweater, but wait till you hear about the Pixel Watch. Imagine having the power of Google and still managing to make a smartwatch that felt like it was stuck in 2015. So when they announced the Pixel Watch in 2022, people People were ready for something game-changing. A Google-made smartwatch, fully integrated with the Pixel ecosystem, sounded like a dream. But instead of a sleek revolution, the Pixel Watch felt more like a step back in time. For years, Google had been watching the smartwatch market from the sidelines. Brands like Apple, Samsung, and Fitbit, which Google owns by the way, had been dominating. But Google's absence created anticipation. Fans were waiting for the moment when Google would finally launch a smartwatch that could compete head-to-head with the Apple Watch. When the Pixel Watch was released, it looked promising. Its circular design was elegant, sleek, and undeniably googly. It had Wear OS, Google Assistant, and Fitbit health features. On paper, it seemed like a contender, but the excitement started fading once people got their hands on it. The Pixel Watch wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. And in the hyper-competitive smartwatch market, not great doesn't cut it. Here's what went wrong. 1. Outdated hardware. The Pixel Watch used a processor from 2018. In tech terms, that's ancient. Imagine buying a new car only to find out it has an engine from 5 years ago. The result? Performance was sluggish. Apps took too long to load, and the watch sometimes struggled with basic tasks. 2. Battery life woes. For a device designed to be worn all day, the Pixel Watch had a battery life of around 24 hours. That sounds okay until you realize most competitors last 2 or 3 days, or even more. Imagine your smartwatch dying right when you're trying to track your evening jog. Not exactly helpful, right? 3. Chunky bezels. The watch screen looked great in ads, but in real life, users noticed the massive black bezels around the display. 4. Health features felt limited. Despite Google owning Fitbit, the Pixel Watch didn't have some of Fitbit's most advanced features, like detailed sleep tracking or SpO2 monitoring. People were left asking, why doesn't it do what Fitbit can already do? The paywall for sleep tracking is a deal breaker for me. There are literally $50 smartwatches like the Mi Band that does this for free. I was expecting a little more from Google, but I am not exactly surprised. Their first generation of things have usually had an issue. As a Pixel owner, I'd say that this could have been a really cool product had the price been different. Somewhere around $200 would make way more sense, but as it stands, it is overpriced for what it offers. Hopeful for the future of Pixel Watches though. The Pixel Watch's biggest problem wasn't that it failed entirely, it was that it felt unfinished. Google's first attempt at a smartwatch didn't set the world on fire, and in tech, your first impression is everything. It's like meeting someone for the first time and realizing halfway through the conversation that they didn't prepare for the date. Sure, they seem nice, but you're already thinking about leaving. Google is known for innovation, but with the Pixel Watch, it felt like they rushed to join the smartwatch race without taking the time to get it right. So why did this happen? It seems Google was trying to play catch-up. They saw Apple dominating the smartwatch world and wanted to get in the game fast. But instead of building something revolutionary, they delivered something fine. And in a market flooded with incredible options, like the Apple Watch Series 8 or the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5, fine isn't enough. People wanted a watch that felt like the future. The Pixel Watch felt like a product from yesterday. The Pixel Watch is a great reminder that even the biggest tech giants can stumble. Google is one of the smartest companies in the world, but this watch showed that no amount of branding can make up for a product that doesn't live up to the hype. To their credit, Google hasn't given up. Rumors suggest they're already working on a second-generation Pixel Watch, and maybe next time they'll learn from these mistakes. The Pixel Watch was a ticking disappointment, but at least it didn't bend expectations. Unlike the Galaxy Fold, a phone that folds. Sounds futuristic, right? Well, not when it's breaking right out of the box. Imagine it's 2019 again, and the world is buzzing about the next big leap in smartphones. Phones have gotten bigger, better, and faster. But what's left to innovate? That's when Samsung dropped a bombshell. The Galaxy Fold. A foldable phone. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie. Fold it in half to fit in your pocket. Then open it up for a mini tablet experience. The promise? The Galaxy Fold was going to revolutionize how we use smartphones. No more compromises. This was the best of both worlds. But instead of blowing minds, the Galaxy Fold ended up blowing wallets, and not in a good way. When Samsung unveiled the Galaxy Fold, it felt like the dawn of a new era. The demo was jaw-dropping. Influencers, tech fans, and reviewers couldn't stop talking about it. The foldable design made other smartphones look old-fashioned overnight. And the price? A cool $2,000. That's right, this wasn't just a phone, it was a statement. If you had the Galaxy Fold, you were part of an elite club. Or at least, that's how it was supposed to feel. The Galaxy Fold was scheduled for a release in April 2019, and Samsung sent out review units to the press. That's when the problem started. Within days, tech reviewers noticed something alarming. The screens were breaking. Here's what happened. 1. The foldable screen was fragile. Folding and unfolding the phone caused the screen to warp or, in some cases, completely fail. It didn't take a big accident, just regular use. 2. The protective layer confusion. The Galaxy Fold screen had a top layer that looked like a regular screen protector, but it wasn't. Removing it permanently damaged the screen. 3. Dust and debris issues. The hinge design wasn't fully sealed, which allowed tiny particles to sneak in. A little dust could cause major damage to the display. Imagine pulling your shiny new foldable phone out of your pocket, only to find a grain of sand had left a permanent mark on the screen. Not ideal for $2,000. Samsung Galaxy Fold is one of the first foldable phones, flip phones. Am I a joke to you? The problems are starting to unfold. $2K is too much money for this failure. Samsung hit pause immediately. They delayed the launch, pulled back all the review units, and promised to fix the issues. To their credit, they worked hard to improve the design. They reinforced the hinge to prevent dust from sneaking in. They made the protective layer less removable. They ran extra durability tests to ensure it could handle real-life use. By September 2019, the Galaxy Fold was relaunched, but by then, the damage to its reputation was done. The once incredible hype had fizzled out, and people were hesitant to trust a product that had flopped so publicly. The Galaxy Fold was a bold idea, but it was also a gamble. Samsung rushed to be the first company to release a foldable phone, and that eagerness led to mistakes. It wasn't just a hardware issue, it was a trust issue. It's like buying a brand new car only to have the engine fail on your first drive. You're not exactly eager to recommend it to your friends. But here's the thing, innovation often comes with growing pains. The Galaxy Fold wasn't perfect, but it paved the way for better foldable phones. By the time the Galaxy Z Fold 2 and Z Fold 3 came out, Samsung had learned from their mistakes, and foldable phones became far more reliable. Today, foldable phones are becoming more popular, and Samsung leads the charge. If the Galaxy Fold had never happened, even with its flaws, we might not have the impressive foldables we see now. It's a reminder that even when tech stumbles, those failures often lay the groundwork for future success. The Galaxy Fold may have cracked under pressure, but it also cracked open a new world of possibilities. The Galaxy Fold promised to change the game, but ended up folding under pressure, literally. Speaking of games, Netflix thought they could level up with Netflix Gaming. Netflix, the king of streaming. It's the platform that changed how we watch TV, making binge watching a way of life. So when Netflix announced they were diving into gaming in 2021, people got curious. Was Netflix about to shake up the gaming industry the way they disrupted Blockbuster? Could this be the next big thing? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Instead of delivering something groundbreaking, Netflix Gaming launched with nothing interesting. Here's the setup. In 2021, Netflix was facing tough competition. Disney+, HBO Max, and other streaming platforms were stealing chunks of their market share. For the first time, Netflix wasn't growing as fast as it used to. To stay ahead, they decided to branch out, and gaming became their big bet. The idea sounded exciting. Imagine your favorite Netflix shows, like Stranger Things or The Witcher, turned into immersive games. Plus, these games would be included with your subscription at no extra cost. It felt like a win-win, right? But then, the games actually launched. What Netflix promised versus what they delivered, night and day. Instead of blockbuster quality games or innovative experiences, we got simple mobile games. And when I say simple, I mean Candy Crush-style time fillers with Netflix branding slapped on them. Some examples. Stranger Things 1984 was a retro arcade-style game, fun for about 15 minutes, but not exactly what fans were expecting. Other games were generic puzzles, card games, or runners. They felt like something you'd play to kill time while waiting in line, not experiences you'd rush to download. You log into Netflix hoping for the next The Last of Us, and instead, you get a game that looks like it was created by a 16-year-old computer science student. The problems with Netflix gaming. 1. No originality. The games didn't offer anything new or exciting. They felt like reskins of free apps you could already download. 2. Hard to find. Here's a fun challenge. Try to find Netflix's games on their app. Spoiler, they're hidden. You have to scroll through menus and then get redirected to download them on the App Store or Google Play. By the time you find the game, you're too annoyed to play it. 3. No connection to what fans wanted. Netflix subscribers weren't asking for mobile games. If anything, people just wanted cheaper subscriptions or better content. Gaming felt like a random addition no one had requested. Netflix is getting into video games for the same reason Apple is launching a car and Amazon is getting into healthcare. These high-tech companies have to constantly keep growing in order to justify their insane valuations. And in many cases, their core businesses won't offer enough revenue to satisfy investors' growth expectations. This is the problem with these big companies. Their core offering starts to fail, and they think moving focus elsewhere is the answer instead of making sure their core offering is decent. This is hilarious and weird idea that is a waste of time. Y'all don't realize how many huge companies thought it'd be easy to capitalize on the gaming industry and failed hard? The numbers say it all. Despite Netflix gaming being available to over 200 million subscribers, fewer than 1% of users actually downloaded or played the games. That's about as bad as it gets for a launch. It's not that gaming wasn't a good idea. It's that Netflix didn't seem to understand the audience they were trying to serve. Gamers expect quality and innovation. Netflix's offerings felt like an afterthought. Netflix gaming showed as a valuable lesson about ambition. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Netflix saw gaming as a way to expand their empire, but they forgot the golden rule of entertainment. Give people what they actually want. It's like a friend surprising you with a gift, but it's the wrong size, wrong color, and for a hobby you don't even have. However, here's the twist. Netflix hasn't given up on gaming. They've started buying game studios, hiring talented developers, and teasing plans for bigger, better games in the future. Who knows? Maybe in a few years, Netflix gaming will finally find its groove. But for now, it's a reminder that even the most successful companies can miss the mark when they try to do too much, too soon. Netflix gaming struggled to keep players hooked, but at least it didn't try to think for you. Let's see the world of ChatGPT Clones, AI knockoffs that aimed for brilliance, but delivered, well, let's just say not quite human. By 2023, ChatGPT was everywhere. It wasn't just helping people write essays, code, and emails. It was sparking debates about what AI could do for society. Naturally, companies wanted in on the action, and soon, a wave of ChatGPT clones hit the market. The problem? Many of these knockoff AI chatbots were more creepy uncle than helpful assistant. After ChatGPT's massive success, companies big and small scrambled to release their own versions. It seemed like everyone wanted a slice of the AI pie. But while OpenAI had spent years refining its chatbot to make it smart, safe, and user-friendly, the same couldn't be said for the competition. Imagine this. You're trying out a brand new AI assistant. You ask it to help with your homework or write a recipe for dinner. Instead of getting a helpful answer, the bot starts rambling nonsense, spouting conspiracy theories, or worse, giving you downright dangerous advice. So what went wrong? It's simple. Companies were rushing. They saw the success of ChatGPT and wanted to cash in as fast as possible. But building a good AI isn't just about throwing together some code. It takes time, testing, and thoughtful design. These knockoffs lack the safeguards and fine-tuning that made ChatGPT work. Without those, the bots didn't know how to handle tricky questions, or even basic ones. While some of these failures were funny, others were genuinely concerning. Poorly designed AI can spread misinformation, encourage harmful behavior, or create trust issues for the entire industry. It's like when one bad restaurant review makes you avoid the entire chain. AI developers are all scrambling to prove their bots aren't like that one. This trend highlights an important lesson. Just because technology is powerful doesn't mean it should be rushed. AI has incredible potential, but it also needs to be handled with care. To their credit, some companies learned from their mistakes. They've pulled back their chatbots and promised to release improved versions. Meanwhile, others have quietly faded into obscurity, leaving their embarrassing moments behind. As for OpenAI and ChatGPT, it continues to lead the pack, but even it's not perfect. AI still has a long way to go before it can truly be called foolproof. ChatGPT clones tried to mimic genius and ended up more glitchy than groundbreaking. But what about the Nothing phone? With a name like that, it had nowhere to go but up, right? In 2022, a new contender stepped into the smartphone arena with a bold promise to revolutionize the industry. The Nothing phone wasn't just another gadget, it was a statement. With its futuristic design and hype-driven marketing, it declared that smartphones had grown stale and boring, and it was here to shake things up. The world held its breath. Would the Nothing phone deliver on its ambitious promises? Spoiler alert, not exactly. The Nothing phone was the brainchild of Carl Pei, one of the co-founders of OnePlus. His track record of delivering sleek, affordable, high-performance phones meant that people were excited to see what he'd do next. From the get-go, the Nothing phone looked different. Its most striking feature was its transparent back, which revealed LED lights and internal components. These weren't just for show. The lights, known as the glyph interface, could be programmed to flash in patterns for notifications, calls, and charging. The idea was clear. Nothing phone wasn't just another black rectangle. It was a head-turner, a conversation starter, a beacon of innovation. But while the aesthetic screamed next-gen, the functionality whispered last year. Once the Nothing phone hit users' hands, the cracks in its revolutionary image started to show. 1. Mid-range hardware. Beneath the flashy exterior, the Nothing phone was powered by a Snapdragon 778G Plus processor. For non-techies, that's a decent mid-range chip, but not exactly groundbreaking. It's like buying a Ferrari, only to find out it has the engine of a budget sedan. 2. The glyph gimmick. While the LED lights were fun, they weren't exactly practical. Most people realized they didn't want their phone flashing Morse code every time they got a notification. Sure, it's cool for 5 minutes, but do you really need a nightclub on the back of your phone? 3. Software bugs. Early adopters reported issues with the phone's software, from laggy performance to glitches in the camera app. For a device marketed as sleek and futuristic, these hiccups were hard to overlook. 4. No real innovation. The Nothing phone promised to redefine smartphones, but beyond the cool design, it didn't offer anything truly new. It lacked the killer features needed to stand out in a competitive market. Wife: what did you order recently? Husband: nothing. One of the biggest reasons for the Nothing phone's underwhelming reception was its overhyped marketing. The teasers and promos built it up as the next iPhone-level disruption, but when people finally got their hands on it, they found, well, nothing groundbreaking. To be fair, the Nothing phone wasn't a total flop. Its design was undeniably fresh, and some fans appreciated its minimalist aesthetic and lightweight feel. For those who cared more about style than specs, it was a solid choice. Plus, it did succeed in sparking conversations about smartphone design. Maybe the Nothing phone wasn't revolutionary, but it did challenge the industry to think differently about what a phone could look like. The Nothing phone story reminds us that while appearance matters, substance is what keeps users happy. A flashy design can grab attention, but if the functionality isn't there, people will lose interest fast. Despite the criticism, the Nothing phone found a niche audience. Some users embraced its quirky design, and the company is still working on future products, hinting that this was just the beginning. With each new phone version, everything is improved, and the marketing team is doing a really great job, seeing how they trend-jacked attention from the ugly rebranding of Jaguar. So there is still hope that this brand will blossom someday. Maybe Nothing's next phone will finally deliver on its promise to revolutionize the industry. For now though, it remains a reminder that in tech, it's not enough to just look cool. You've got to back it up with features that matter. The Nothing phone promised to be everything and delivered, well, you guessed it. But speaking of overhyped launches, remember Clubhouse? The app that was supposed to revolutionize conversations but quickly turned into an empty echo chamber? In early 2020, as the world was stuck indoors, a new app popped up that promised something fresh, exciting, and exclusive. Clubhouse. It wasn't just another social media platform. It was a voice-only experience where you could join live conversations, debates, or casual chats on almost any topic. Think of it as a cocktail party without the cocktails or the party. For a while, Clubhouse was the place to be, but just as quickly as it rose to fame, it faded into the background like a forgotten playlist. What happened? When Clubhouse launched, it wasn't just an app, it was an invite-only club. You couldn't just download it and start using it. No, you needed an invitation from someone who was already in. This exclusivity made it feel like the VIP lounge of the internet. Once you got in, you were greeted by an endless list of virtual rooms where people were talking about everything from tech trends to parenting tips. Big names like Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey were hosting live discussions, and people flocked to listen. For a moment, it felt like Clubhouse might change the way we connect online. At its peak, Clubhouse wasn't just popular, it was a cultural phenomenon. With the pandemic forcing us all into isolation, the app offered something we desperately craved: human connection. 1. A new way to network. Entrepreneurs, influencers, and tech enthusiasts loved Clubhouse for its live, unscripted conversations. It felt raw and authentic, unlike the polished post we were used to seeing on Instagram or LinkedIn. 2. Big celebrities, big buzz. Imagine stumbling into a room and hearing Elon Musk casually discussing space exploration, or a panel of famous artists debating creativity. It was like rubbing shoulders with the elite, all from the comfort of your couch. couch. 3. No pressure. With no cameras or likes to worry about, it felt liberating. You could join in or just listen. No judgment. But just as quickly as Clubhouse skyrocketed, it started to fall down. 1. Too many invites. The app opened its doors to everyone, and suddenly, the exclusivity that made it special was gone. What was once the cool hangout felt overcrowded and chaotic. 2. Burnout. Spending hours listening to live conversations turned out to be exhausting. People didn't always have the time or patience for hour-long chats. 3. Competition. Platforms like Twitter and Facebook quietly launched their own audio features, stealing the spotlight. Why download a separate app when you could have live conversations on platforms you already used? 4. Pandemic fatigue. As life started returning to normal, people no longer needed virtual rooms to feel connected. They could meet in real ones instead. Talk about digging your own grave. They did it. They just had to keep the hallway with live rooms and then slowly experimented with other features. But I badly miss Clubhouse. Late night chats, music jams, nobody screwed up like them. Sad. Lol, nothing more boring than Clubhouse. It sounded like a good idea until people thought about the actual sound. It's like going to a bad party every time. By late 2021, Clubhouse started feeling like a ghost town. Rooms that were once packed with eager listeners became eerily quiet. The app that once promised connection became a reminder of the fleeting nature of trends. The biggest issue with Clubhouse was that it thrived on exclusivity and novelty. Once the exclusivity was gone, so was the attraction. And when competitors came knocking, Clubhouse didn't have enough unique features to keep people loyal. Clubhouse showed as a valuable lesson about the digital world. Being new and shiny only lasts so long. To succeed long-term, platforms need to constantly innovate, adapt, and give users reasons to stay engaged. Clubhouse is still around, quietly trying to reinvent itself. It's found a niche audience of dedicated users, but it's far from the cultural force it once was. The VIP buzz? Long gone. Clubhouse went from the life of the party to a room no one wanted to join. But then came BeReal, a social app that begged you to be authentic. In 2022, a little app with a big idea started taking the social media world by storm. It was called BeReal, and its pitch was simple but bold. Get real, get authentic, and stop obsessing over perfectly curated posts. No filters, no endless retakes, just you, your life, and whatever was happening in the moment. Sounds refreshing, right? For a while, it was. But like so many viral trends, BeReal went from must-have to meh faster than you could say notification. BeReal had one killer feature that set it apart. Once a day, at a random time, every user received a notification. Time to be real. You had 2 minutes to snap a photo using both your front and back cameras, showing your real life in real time. No filters, no chance to stage the perfect shot, just raw, unpolished reality. It's like social media, but instead of showing off your vacation in Bali, you're sharing a picture of yourself eating cereal and sweatpants. For a generation exhausted by Instagram's perfection and TikTok's constant grind, BeReal felt like a breath of fresh air. People loved the idea of seeing their friends as they really were, warts, cluttered rooms and all. For a few glorious months, BeReal became the app of the moment. Social media timelines were flooded with dual camera shots of people at work, at school, or lying in bed. Celebrities got in on the trend too, sharing unfiltered glimpses of their everyday lives. Friends would laugh over hilariously bad angles and mundane moments. There was something charming about the chaos of it all. For a brief window, it felt like BeReal had cracked the code to make social media, well, social again. But then something happened. People got bored. 1. The novelty wore off. The random notifications that were once exciting quickly became annoying. Imagine being in the middle of a meeting or a gym workout and having to drop everything to snap a photo. 2. Predictable content. At first, the mundane shots were funny and relatable, but after a while, everyone realized their lives weren't exciting enough to share every single day. 3. Lack of features. BeReal's simplicity was its charm, but it also became its downfall. There weren't enough features to keep users engaged long-term. Once the novelty faded, the app started feeling empty. 4. Competition from other platforms. Instagram and TikTok, never once to let a trend pass them by, started rolling out their own versions of BeReal's dual camera feature. Why download a whole new app when your favorite platforms already offered the same thing? No one actually wants to be real. Most people have boring lives and that's something they want to hide. not show. BeReal was just minimalist Snapchat. Would have been better with chat options. Would have been cute to have an app solely focused on one-on-one interactions. Telling social media to be real is like telling politics to be honest, or people to have common sense. Lack of interest is basically guaranteed. BeReal's decline showed us about the difference between a trend and a movement. While the idea of authenticity struck a chord, it wasn't enough to hold people's attention for long. Social media users want to be entertained, and being real all the time just isn't that exciting. As of now, BeReal is still hanging around, but its peak popularity is behind it. The app has loyal users, but it no longer dominates conversations or social feeds like it once did. In conclusion, from apps to gadgets that flopped, these tech failures remind us of one thing: even the biggest ideas can fail without the right execution. But hey, every failure creates the opportunity for improvement. Who knows? Maybe the next success story is just one mistake away.